stay in his driver funk. Liability coverage. With this machine I'm blaming, his whole team live panic. Jack froze up and then died. Now you seen Titanic?
Bow to the neck. I mute his audio. Your youngest son, bow to the chest. Reduce his cardio, then bow to take your princess from you. Super Mario,
Basically, I'm coming at him. He's strapped in, I smash in. Both his hands with a hammer. How he gonna use his strapped in?
Hello. Welcome back to the Speaker and Language Show. And today's episode will be a 3-for-1, very similar to when I did the Gnome ranked performances and ranked events. This time I'm doing Summer Madness, and the extra addition to the 3-for-1 is me comparing some of the Wrestlemanias to Summer Madnesses that we've had. Everybody calls Summer Madness the Wrestlemania Battle Rap, so I just want to do my due diligence and make those comparisons for you. We're going to get right into it. We're going to start off with the honorable mentions.
You said I was jealous because you got Lady Luck first. That had me through with bitches. So I been gave up on luck. I ain't superstitious. You think...
I'm too nice for this nigga. Yeah, I bumped him only cause it's on sight with this nigga. I'm charged up, back to back, like that light-skinned nigga, but he could be Drake. I'm Quentin Miller. I got a rape for this nigga. Oh my God.
Soon as the metal pop, bah, I bet it drop. Man, this shit feeling like 96. Wow. Except this time Suge dying in Vegas instead of Pac. I'm from Little Block. Told you I had one. Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. I already bodied the nigga that right for you. Get clips the fuck out of here. How dare you diss my nigga saying, get smacked the fuck out of here. If I was smacked, I would have stepped back like, you ain't getting paid, you ever half, son. Now get your ass the fuck out of here.
Through a belly. The bullet went through your wife's spine, nigga. It still hit your little man in the head. I'm so accurate when I snipe mine, nigga. Now they both died in the morning, but we not sure if that's the right time, nigga. Cause when I killed them, I left your son behind your earth like it was nighttime, nigga.
Now we are back after the honorable mentions. Now we're going to hop into the top 5 SM performances. At number 5, we have none other than Sue Surf against John Nadon. On Summer Madness 11, I was actually in the building for this performance. It was actually right after Easy versus Chess, so the energy was kind of drained, but then when Surf hopped on that stage, the energy was right back up in an instant. Great 3 rounds from beginning to end. He counter rode, he performed, had a lot of relatable bars and a lot of bars that really stuck with the crowd. His opener is one of the best SM openers you can think of, honestly, truthfully. And this reinvigorated his run and also kickstarted his run for the rest of 2021 and going into 2022. So I have to put his performance against John Nadon, a very, very tough opponent, a very strategic opponent, and he was able to kind of handle that battle and gracefully. So I have Sue Surf at number 5. At number 4, I have Hitman Holla against K Shine on Summer Madness 6. This performance was also really, really great. This is actually the first, Summer Madness 6 was actually the first Summer Madness I ever purchased. As a teenager, I remember watching this live and really, really being impressed by Hitman's performance. He was actually coming back to a very hostile crowd. He had the double impact situation and the situation with Rain in the NWX camp, and everybody was calling him Hollywood Holla and stuff like that, pretty much saying that he fell off. He came back with a vengeance with this performance, solidified the fact that he is indeed the best performer of all time against K Shine, who is also a really, really great performer. Loved his battle, love his performance. Second round, Hall of Fame worthy. First round was really, really good. Great opener as well. Delivered 3 great rounds against a K Shine who had to go back to the chalkboard and figure out his style going into 2018, 2019. That was around the time that K Shine came off the Rex battle. this was one of the last definitive losses that he would take before going into that 2018-2019 run where he was pretty dominant. So I have to put Hitman Holla's performance against K-Shine at number 4. At number 3, we have none other than Calico versus Math Hoffa on the first ever Summer Madness. First and foremost, like I mentioned in other videos, Calico from 2010, 2011, that 2-year run was just nothing short of an amazing run. I think he had one of the best peaks in battle rap that you could think of. His performance against Math Hoffa encapsulates, just where he was in that moment. Calling out Lux after handling Math. He kind of started the trend of calling out a higher up or your next opponent when you're dominating another opponent during the said match. Incredible performance. Out-bullying the bully. Quotables galore. Are we rappers or are we gangsters? I'm in the same spot that Dose was at. Like, he really was setting a tone, for his for Summer Madness and what we look for. This is the reason why we call him Mr. Summer Madness. Some of us do. So I have to put Calico against Math Hoffa at number 3. At number 2, very controversial. I was actually back and forth between these two because you guys know that when I do performances, I really try to, prioritize the dominance, right? Prioritize like the separation between opponents. But at the same time, I think that the first one, and the one I have at number 1, just kind of does a little bit more. That kind of transcends just the battle rap scene. So at number 2, I have Charlie Clips against T-Rex. What can I say? Very dominant performance. Quotables galore, like I mentioned with the Calico performance. Charlie Clips just back-to-back punches. I think this is like his best performance of his career by far. Every bar landed. And this is when like people were crowning him the best of all time after this T-Rex performance. Heartfelt third round, one of the hardest third rounds that you'll find in SM history, in battle rap history. I just really love this performance. Very watchable. I can literally just go back and watch Charlie Clips rounds against T-Rex. And yeah, one of the biggest body bags in Summer Madness history, and one of the performances that kind of solidified him as one of the best battle rappers of all time. So I have to put Charlie Clips at number 2. And at number 1, we have Loaded Lux against Calico, Summer Madness 2. There's not much I can really say. I mean, while I do think that Charlie Clips against T-Rex was more dominant, I feel like Loaded Lux against Calico was slightly more impactful. That third round alone just does it for me. Just he transcended battle rap with just a new, first off, reinventing himself, coming in with a new style, pretty much encouraging people to take the conscious approach, angle a little bit more. And Hollow the Don said it best, and pretty much Hollow the Don pretty much said it best with pretty much saying that, like, when Loaded Lux did his deep third round against Calico, everybody started to aim and make a formula towards making that same type of method third round. Even though people said that Verb was inspiration, even though pretty much Lux made a nod towards saying that Verb was an inspiration for that third round, I really think that he pretty much set the standard for what we look for in impactful third rounds with his performance against Calico. So those are the top 5 performances that I have for SM. Now we're about to get into the Summer Madness events ranked. And for the 3-for-1, I will be comparing the Summer Madness events to Wrestlemania events, since people say that Summer Madness is Wrestlemania and battle rap. So we're going to start from the bottom. And I'm also including the Summer Impact and Summer Impact Reloaded as an addition of the Summer Madness series. So watch out for that. And with that being said, at the very bottom, I have Summer Impact Reloaded. Not much to say about this card. Very incomplete card. You get Ace Amin versus Snake Eyes, which was entertaining for a good portion of the battle, but it's kind of drawn out. It's over an hour or so, and I just feel like there are moments and spurts that are really good, but the overall battle is not that great. You got Jack Boy versus Franchise. Franchise's coming out party on a big stage in New York. Thought that was a really good moment for him. But then you're left with the 2-on-2 where I feel like NWX just dismantled the Monstars. And then the other 2-on-2 that couldn't complete, obviously, because of the scuffle. So overall, we're left with a pretty like incomplete, bad event for the most part. And if I was to compare that to any WrestleMania, that would be WrestleMania 11, because that is deemed the worst WrestleMania of all time. Won't even go through the matchups that happened in WrestleMania 11. Just not memorable, or memorable, but not good. So after that, we have Summer Madness 7 at number 11. The event was not good. And this was actually considered deemed the worst WrestleMania. It is a lot of people's eyes the worst Summer Madness, of the series. Just from a singles competition standpoint, I think there's a couple moments on here. I feel like Geechee's performance against Suge was dope. DNA had a really good performance against New Jersey Twerk. Av dominated Math Hoffa, but the storyline of this card is just everyone choking, everyone being unprepared and stuff like that. And Smack's infamous "I can't eat that," is a memorable moment for the wrong reasons. Overall, the event is just not that great. Even the main event is like okay, but it was supposed to be greater than what it ended up being. And if I was to compare this to any WrestleMania, it would be WrestleMania 15, just because WrestleMania 15 undercard was not that good. But the main event was okay enough for people to, watch it all the way through, between Rock and Stone Cold. So that's what I have at number 11. At number 10, you have Summer Madness 3, which prior to Summer Madness 7 was considered the worst Summer Madness of all time. But Summer Madness 3, you have Tay-Rock versus Ill Will. You have Calico versus T-Rex. You have Miss Hustle versus Jazz. You have Arsenal versus K-Shine. Daylight versus Swave, which didn't happen. John versus JC, which didn't happen. And then Sirius Jones and Math Hoffa was incomplete. But the highlights of this card really is the Tay-Rock and Ill Will battle. That was the Bars Over Names movement, which was a really, really solid battle. And I think it actually saves the event from being completely bad. And Calico's performance against Rex was solid. His first round was really, really good. His second round was solid. But then once it got to that third round, it got a little bit friendly, a little bit weird. So that kind of messed up the battle. Miss Hustle versus Jazz was okay battle. I thought Jazz won. Apparently there was some editing out of chokes in that battle or whatnot. Very, very controversial. But I've seen better Jazz performances and I've seen better Miss Hustle's performances. But yeah, then Big T and O-Red, not that good of a battle, really. I think O-Red had a solid performance, but overall the battle wasn't that good. So you're left with Tay-Rock and Ill Will and a couple of good moments from Calico against T-Rex, but overall the event is not that good. Like I said, it was probably considered the worst WrestleMania or the worst Summer Madness, of the series prior to Summer Madness 7. And the WrestleMania I'll compare that to is WrestleMania 2000, which is considered to be the worst event of the worst pay-per-view of wrestling in the 2000s, considering how great the 2000s was in terms of wrestling. And the reason why I will also compare it to WrestleMania 20 or 2000, aka WrestleMania 16, is because the triple tag team ladder match is the save the event, and I think that's pretty similar to how Tay-Rock and Ill Will was a dope back and forth that kind of kept the event afloat. So that's what I have at number 10. At number 9, we have Summer Madness 11 that had Easy versus Chess, Geechee versus Calico, Mook versus Reed, Sue Surf versus John Adan, K-Shine versus Hollow, and Lou Castro versus Arsenal, and Real Name Brandon versus MVP as the finalists of UM4. This is kind of another middle of the road. Well, one of the first middle of the road SMs. Moments here and there, kind of similar to other SMs. Like obviously, Lou Castro's third against Arsenal. Real Name Brandon put on a show against MVP. K-Shine and Hollow's first round was good, but the overall battle ended up being meh. Mook versus Reed, it hurt to watch that battle, and it also hurt my feet standing. This was actually the first SM that I attended. I wish that they would have put that battle in a different circumstance, in a different event. I feel like that battle probably would have thrived more in a small room. I don't think it was going to survive on a big stage to begin with. But that was not a good battle. But you did get Sue Surf's performance against John that was extremely electrifying. Dominant performance. I just put that in the top 5 performances of SM history. And you also get Easy versus Chess. That was right before the Sue Surf performance. Classic battle. Instant classic. Loved it from beginning to end. I loved it on the rewatch, and I loved it when I was in the building as well. Calico and Geechee was on the verge of being a really good battle up until that third round. That slip up really messed up the momentum of the battle, but still an okay battle. But for the most part, middle of the road event. Middle of the road Summer Madness. If I was to compare this Summer Madness to any WrestleMania, this would be WrestleMania 25, with Easy and Chess resembling Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. The best match, one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time. People consider Easy versus Chess the best Summer Madness battle of all time. So that would be the reason why I would compare it to that. And also, the main event of WrestleMania 25 was Triple H and Randy Orton. A lot of people said that was kind of underwhelming, and I feel like while I don't think that Geechee and Cal was very underwhelming, it's a far ways away from what it was supposed to be. So that's what I have at number 9. At number 8, I have Summer Madness 5. This contained Charlie Clips versus Loaded Lux, DNA and K-Shine versus Chess and Steams because they couldn't complete the battle the first time, Miss Hustle versus Official, Tay-Rock versus Calico, Big T versus Suge, John Adon versus Mr. Wavy, and I believe that's all of the battles. We'll start off with this battle. I feel like Charlie Clips and Loaded Lux was a solid main event, but not a great main event. I wish that main event was a little bit better. I feel like it was a mixture of tension there, and also a mixture of like drawn out stuff that were going on. Whether it was Clips second with the impersonation, and then he kind of goes into this freestyling bag or whatever, or whether it's like the third or in the beginning with the whole coin toss situation or whatever. Overall, we're just left with a solid main event, but not a great main event, considering the build up between it. Tay-Rock and Cal, to me, battle of the night. I feel like Tay-Rock and Cal was a dope back and forth. Tay-Rock had an amazing second. Calico had an amazing first. Third, pretty debatable. I feel like this really, really helped the card stay afloat. Miss Hustle and Official was a solid battle. I feel like Miss Hustle kind of dominated the battle for the most part. Dope return from Miss Hustle. Mr. Wavy and John, that was a massacre. I feel like Mr. Wavy had a good first round. I'll leave with that. But John took that battle over from beginning to end for the most part. Big T and Suge was a pretty solid back and forth. I enjoyed Big T's first 2 rounds. Shotgun Suge had a really good first and a really, really good third to close the battle. DNA and K-Shine versus Chess and Steams was a solid battle. Solid 2-on-2. But we're pretty much left with slightly above average Summer Madness. I feel like there's a bunch of moments and stuff like that. If I was to compare this Summer Madness to a WrestleMania, it would be WrestleMania 13. I feel like WrestleMania 13 had moments as well, but pretty much the hallmark of WrestleMania 13 is Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart. That being the pretty much the highlight of the night, and I would compare that to Tay-Rock versus Cal. So that's what I have at number 8. At number 7, we have none other than Summer Madness 8. This is when Smack and the URL hopped over to the UK to do a Summer Madness. This is the first year in 2018 where they did 2 Summer Madnesses in the same year. They felt like they had to make up for that Summer Madness 7, so they did Summer Madness 8. This is the first Summer Madness that they did in November too, which is kind of funny. Summer Madness 8 contained Soul versus Gemini, really solid battle. Rum Nitty versus Geechee, even though it wasn't in the actual venue, they broadcasted it, and it was a really, really good battle. It also had Twerk versus Arsenal, really, really great back and forth between those two New Jersey people. You also had Tay-Rock versus Pat Stay, really good battle. T-Top versus Iron Solomon was a solid battle with good moments here and there. And then you had John Don and Hollow, the long-awaited grudge match, as the main event. Just to start off, like I said, Soul and Gemini was a really, really solid battle. Seen better performances from both of them, but nonetheless, a pretty solid battle. Rum Nitty versus Geechee Gotti, really, really good battle. Even though their rematch would be better than that one, still a really great way to start off the show. T-Top versus Iron Solomon. I've seen better T-Top performances, seen better Iron Solomon performances prior to that one, but I feel like they both had moments. Iron Solomon with the Volume 3 coming, moment that he had was really, really dope. I really liked his first round, but outside of that, it's just an okay battle. Tay-Rock versus Pat Stay, really, really good battle. Tay-Rock comes out with a monster first, and then Pat Stay with his freestyling in that second round where he pretty much used a current event in the battle as a means to propel himself with the whole you always fight angle, or you always almost fight angle. Really, really dope, really, really strategic, really, really enjoyed the battle. Would have been better if Tay-Rock didn't slip up in the third. He had that Wayne Rooney haymaker, then he slipped up and choked in the third. But outside of that, really good battle. We are left with John Don versus Hollow. John Don versus Hollow. I thought John had a solid first, a really good first. Had a moment in the second. I thought Hollow had a really solid first too. Overall, just not the main event that I wanted, but not completely terrible. And if I was to compare that Summer Madness 8 to a WrestleMania, it would be compared to WrestleMania 18. This was the WrestleMania that went back to Canada, and it was the first time they went back to Canada in a modern time of wrestling. So that's very similar to Smack going to the UK. I would compare Twerk and Arsenal to Hulk Hogan and The Rock, where Twerk is like that new rising star, and Twerk is like the new rising star, and Arsenal is like the icon of Jersey. Very similar to Hulk was the icon of wrestling for a long time, and now Rock is taking that. The Rock took that torch. So that's what I would compare it to. The next Summer Madness that we have is none other than Summer Madness 6. Summer Madness 6 is an amazing event. This is actually the first Summer Madness pay-per-view that I've purchased. What is there to say about Summer Madness 6? You got JC versus Rum Nitty. You got T-Top versus Av. You got Calico versus Briz. You got Hitman versus K-Shine. You got Tay-Rock versus Hollow. And then a surprise battle you got is Cortez versus New Jersey Twerk. Cortez versus New Jersey Twerk was a solid battle, but nothing spectacular. I felt like Twerk's first round was really good. Cortez's first round was really good. Then after that, you get moments here and there, but it's just a solid battle. Cortez won the battle, but nonetheless, it was just okay. But it's a surprise battle, so I mean, it wasn't really any expectations on the battle, so so not that much to it. JC versus Nitty. On the watch back, it's a really, really good battle. I feel like Nitty's material ages beautifully, but they were riding for JC in this battle, and I feel like JC delivered a really, really good performance from beginning to end. Very, very entertaining. A little bit long, I thought the crowd reaction got a little bit elongated and kind of made JC's rounds really, really long, but nonetheless, still enjoyed the battle. Thought they both had a lot of good material. After that, Av versus T-Top. Very, very entertaining. I thought Av had a very solid performance. I feel like T-Top just bested him that day. T-Top was just really, really great with the angling, with the jokes, with the performance, pacing. He was great all around. Landed some really, really dope haymakers. Just really, really good in the battle. Again, I feel like Av's performance was solid, and actually his first and third round ages beautifully on camera, but I think T-Top bested him every round. I feel like T-Top was just spectacular. That's one of T-Top's best performances of his career. Then you're also given Calico and Briz, which is the underwhelming battle on the card, and everybody was expecting this one outside of maybe Tay-Rock and Hollow. Everybody was expecting Calico and Briz to be one of those ones, the battle of the night, and it ended up being a very underwhelming battle. Briz was pretty much taken aback because of the mic issues. Calico actually had a good first round. His third round, he picked it up again, but very, very up and down in the battle. So, that was Calico and Briz. K-Shine and Hitman Holla, really, really entertaining battle. I thought K-Shine had a solid first half of his first until he brought back his whole rhyme scheme and kind of, that whole situation. His third round was also solid and creative with the whole wilding out thing that he did. But I feel like Hitman controlled this battle from beginning to end. His opener was great. His first round was really good. His second round was really, really good. So really, really enjoyed the battle. Even if it's slightly one-sided to a degree, was still entertained from beginning to end. Then you also have Tay-Rock versus Hollow the Don. Classic battle, one of the best SM battles of all time. Tay-Rock has one of the best SM moments of all time in the second round with the seatbelt bar. And it's a great way to pretty much, send off Tay-Rock into that new pedestal of being like one of the newer god tier people that we would consider. Even though he really wasn't considered that at that moment, now we can kind of consider him one of those guys just because of the moments that he had with Tay-Rock, or the moments that he had with Hollow in that battle. And it's also good to mention that, it's also good to note that this was indeed the last Summer Madness to happen in New York, specifically the last Summer Madness to happen in Irving Plaza. And actually, even to add to that, the last, event that Smack and them would do in Irving Plaza, which is kind of why I compare this Summer Madness to WrestleMania 22, because in WrestleMania 22, that was one of the last WrestleManias that they were doing like a small scale stadium. They were in the Allstate Arena. And after that, they would do arenas that would pack out 80, 90, 100K worth of people. And I'll also compare it to WrestleMania 22 just because I feel like, JC's push was very similar to when Rey Mysterio got his push towards the world title. Tay-Rock's push is very similar to John Cena's push when he pretty much beat Triple H in the main event by submission. Very surprising. And I feel like, Hitman performance kind of reminded me of Shawn Michaels' performance against Mr. McMahon in terms of, Hitman solidifying that he can put on a show against anybody. He's the best performer to ever do it. And we're at the top 5. At number 5, we have none other than Summer Madness 10. This, to me, is the most underrated Summer Madness of the entire series. You had Holmesy versus Bill Collector. They were the finalists for UM2. You had John Don versus Ill Will. That was supposed to happen on Gnome X, Gnome 10, but they pushed it on to Summer Madness. It's a good thing because Gnome 10 wasn't that good. You have T-Top versus B-Dot. Really, really good battle. Reed Dollars versus Rum Nitty. Really solid battle as well. Geechee Gotti versus Charlie Clips. Another really good battle. Then you also have K-Shine versus Chess, which would end up being the main event. Well, that and also A-Verb and Calico, which are kind of the co-main event. You can kind of divvy that up either way you want to, but both of those battles were really good. Murder Mook and Briz unfortunately did not go down. That probably would have pushed it way over the top considering how good Murder Mook is in the small rooms, and with it being a Briz return, that would have been a really, really entertaining battle, but nonetheless, still a great event. Holmesy and Bill is the only downside of the card. I feel like the battle was just too friendly for my liking. I felt like Holmesy had a really good second, but wasn't really that good of a battle all the way through. But after that, you go straight into it. You get John Adon versus Ill Will. John had a solid performance, but I feel like Ill Will bested him each round. But that's one of Ill Will's best performances of his career. His best Summer Madness performance by far. And I feel like he was just clicking on all cylinders when it came to his rapping patterns. Some of the bars he was able to land, the aggression. He was just on one that night. But John was still pretty solid in the battle. You had T-Top versus B-Dot battle of the night, in my opinion. I feel like T-Top was really, really good. I loved his first round, but I felt B-Dot was that much better. But I thought it was a good back and forth, a way better back and forth than some of the other battles on the night. But still feel like B-Dot was just really, really good. It probably had performance of the night between him and Ill Will. But really enjoyed the battle. Love B-Dot's third as well. You also have Reed Dollaz versus Rum Nitty. The upset of the night. A lot of people have Rum Nitty winning clearly, but Reed Dollaz was able to secure a win. I still think the battle is pretty close. I know a lot of people have Reed Dollaz winning, but still really enjoy Rum Nitty's material. I just felt like Reed Dollaz was able to tap into a certain element in that small room aesthetic, and it made for a really, really interesting style clash. Really enjoyed that battle. Charlie Clips versus Geechee Gotti, really, really enjoyed this battle as well. The only thing that kind of kept it from being really good is, Charlie Clips slip up in the third, but he was able to dress it up with the freestyling thing that he was able to do in his third. Walking around the environment, freestyling about, certain things. Really, really dope, battle. I thought they traded off rounds. I gave Charlie Clips the first, I gave Geechee the second, and Geechee got the third by default just because, Charlie Clips slipped up, but still a pretty solid battle. Excuse me. The next battle we have is Averb against Calico. Really solid battle too. I really, really enjoyed Averb's, his performance. I thought his first round was pretty solid. His third round was really good. That's actually the round I gave him. But Calico was just in rare form in that small room. Great rapping mixed in with real talk. I gave him the first two rounds, but really, really thought that it was a solid battle. Really wish they would have dug into that King of the Midwest dialogue a little bit more, but they didn't have to. I mean, it still made for a pretty solid battle. And then you have K-Shine and Chess, the last battle of the night, kind of built in as the main event. A lot of questions were, will Chess be prepared in the battle? That's the reason why, Shine didn't really want to battle him. And long story short, I feel like Chess came with some really, really great material, but I feel like, Shine out-battled him and had a better approach than Chess all three rounds. I feel like Shine had the round of the night, or round of the battle, and could arguably have round of the night with his second round against Chess. Very, very surgical, very, very direct. His first round was also really good with, some of the bars he was able to land in the cigarettes, haymaker that he landed in the third round. He had like a mid-round rebuttal. Just was able to seal the battle in a clean fashion. Probably one of K-Shine's best performances, all-around performances to close out the night. Overall, I thought Summer Madness 10 was a really, really good Summer Madness, and I compared that Summer Madness to WrestleMania 19. WrestleMania 19, the same way that WrestleMania 19 kind of solidified, the greatness of that Ruthless Aggression era. I feel like, Summer Madness 10 solidified the caffeine era, because prior to Summer Madness 10, we really didn't get a good caffeine event. We had Genesis, we had Gnome X, but we didn't really get a really, really good Summer Madness, or a really good battle rap event, URL event. And I feel like they solidified it with the Summer Madness 10 event. Really, really good card. Another reason why I compare it to, WrestleMania 19, with it being entertaining from beginning to end, besides one battle, and that one battle is Holmesy and Bill. I compared Holmesy and Bill to Triple H and Booker T, just because for as high of a magnitude that battle is in terms of like the money that's on the line, I just felt like they came a little bit short in terms of giving us the show that we needed. And the last thing that pretty much parallels Summer Madness 10 to WrestleMania 19 is the idea of closing chapters. I feel like you know, in WrestleMania 19, you had Hulk Hogan and Mr. McMahon, and that was the closing chapter of Who Made Who, right? Hulk Hogan says that, you know, without him, like, WWE wouldn't be as big, and then Mr. McMahon saying that he made Hulkamania. And I feel like that was a closing chapter with that match. And I feel like The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin obviously was a closing chapter of their trilogy. And I would compare, you know, those closing chapters to the closing chapters of Chess and Shine, which was pretty much a 5-year rivalry, and Verb and Calico with a segment of that talk about the Midwest King. So really enjoyed Summer Madness 10. And now we are on to number 4. At number 4, I have none other than the Summer Madness 1, the Summer Madness. Not really much to say about the Summer Madness outside of it being one of the biggest, battle rap spectacles in history. One of the biggest crowds. They sold out Webster Hall for the first time. A lot. If you go back to all the old videos, old interviews, a lot of the battlers, you know, voiced the same sentiments of, like, you know, the nerves that they got going on that stage, the amount of people that were there, the electricity in the building. You had T-Rex versus Conceited, Midwest Miles against Tech 9, DNA versus X Factor, K-Shine versus Sue Surf, Charlie Clips versus A-Verb, Calico versus Math, and Hollow versus Hitman. And I'll start off with Hollow versus Hitman, and I feel like Hollow Hitman is easily the biggest letdown of the card. You have 2 major body bags of the night with Calico over Math. I spoke about that earlier, and Charlie Clips over Averb, which he was just clicking on all cylinders. As soon as he stepped on that stage, the people were loving him. K-Shine, Sue Surf, really good back and forth. K-Shine delivering one of his best rounds of his career in the first, but Sue Surf fought back and took the second and third kind of clear. You got X Factor and DNA was a solid back and forth too. I feel like both of the first rounds was really good. X Factor kind of started to pull away towards the end, but nonetheless it's still pretty solid battle. Really enjoyed T-Rex and Conceited. I like the style clash between those two. T-Rex with his back-to-back punching style, Conceited with his back-to-back punching style, and T-Rex with his stage presence and veteran stature. Really enjoyed that battle. And yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest battle rap spectacles of all time. And I compared that Summer Madness to WrestleMania 3, which was also like the biggest wrestling sporting event of all time for the WWE, and in general, they actually had over 100,000 people in the venue. So that's the easiest comparison I can make. It's like there's something that you'll rarely see, and in that time period in battle rap, that was the first time you saw an event of that magnitude and just so many people there to watch battles. So that's what I have at number 4. At number 3, I have Summer Madness 4. What can I say about Summer Madness 4? This has Arsenal Ill Will, even though that battle didn't go down. John Adon versus A-Verb. DNA versus Tay-Rock. Conceited versus B-Magic. Charlie Clips versus T-Rex. And Sue Surf versus Hitman. I'll start off with John Adon versus Averb. Averb actually had a really solid performance, but it got overshadowed with the third round, the whole I Am a Rooster situation. But looking past that, his first 2 rounds were really, really good. John Adon had a solid performance. Some of his material was slept on, but Averb was just clicking on all cylinders in his first 2 rounds. Took the battle pretty clearly. T-Rex versus Charlie Clips. Major body bag. Charlie Clips. This is probably the best Charlie Clips performance of his career. This solidified him being the best, in battle rap. And yeah, there's not much to say. I just felt like he just dominated from beginning to end. DNA and Tay-Rock. Tay-Rock with one of his career-defining moments in that time period, right? Because he had a Summer Madness battle before against Ill Will, but the Summer Madness 4 was like the biggest stage he's ever been on in that particular moment, and I feel like he had the crowd in the palm of his hands. Like everybody loved anything that he was saying, and that kind of got to DNA, and that made DNA pretty much I wouldn't say literally give up, but like his demeanor shows you that he pretty much gave up in that moment. He couldn't overcome all that was going on, and that left Tay-Rock with a dominant win, Summer Madness 4. Then you get to the two classics of the card with Conceited and B Magic. Really dope punch fest. Conceited delivered a really great first round. B Magic had a really good first round as well, but B Magic rolled uphill and took the second and third clearly. I felt like Conceited had a good third. The second kind of, he lost steam or whatever, but nonetheless, still a really good battle. Quotables everywhere in that battle. Really enjoyed that. And then Sue Surf and Hitman, the highest viewed URL battle of all time. Hitman with his first round, classic first round. Sue Surf with his third round, classic third round. And that's kind of what pretty much makes us watch the battle all the way through, is that there's a classic round from beginning to end. And, you're left with classic moments. This was a clash of, people in the same generation, the same class. Both have major fan bases. I just feel like it encapsulates how big what Summer Madness is about and how big Summer Madness 4 was. So that's what I have at number 3. And if I was to compare that Summer Madness to any WrestleMania, it would be WrestleMania 21, off of the theme of just solidifying new stars and legends. The same way that, Charlie Clips was solidified as like the new, like the best battler in battle rap. I feel like you had people like Batista and John Cena who won their matches, became champions, and became like the new stars. Same thing with Tay-Rock. Tay-Rock solidifying that, like, he's not the same Tay-Rock that battled Charlie Clips back then. He's new, and he's refined, and he's the new star of battle rap and URL as well. So that's why I kind of compare it to WrestleMania 21. Now we are going to number 2, the runner-up, and it's going to be controversial, but I have to do it just because of how classic the event is. At number 2, I have Summer Impact 2. Summer Impact is number 2. A barrage of great moments. I just feel like from beginning to end, you're entertained. I'm going to start off with E40, E-Hart, and 40 Bars, and Jazz and Official. Entertaining battle. One-sided, obviously. They made E-Hart and 40 Bars forfeit or whatever, which was the first time in a 2-on-2 that a team forfeit, if I'm not mistaken. But that was crazy entertaining. Then you get EFB versus NWX, in my opinion, one of the best 2-on-2 tag teams, 2-on-2 matches of all time. And I know a lot of people, it's like a kind of revolving door in terms of like what's considered the best 2-on-2 battle of all time. But to me, I've always had this in rotation. I think the back and forth between these two have been amazing. I really enjoyed the battle. Then you also get John Don and Hitman against Charlie Clips and Goods. Really dope encounter between those two. Very funny, very entertaining. Marvin Quest against the Monstars. This was a major upset. Nobody was expecting the Monstars to handle the battle the way they did. They took the first 2 rounds pretty clear. Like, it got ugly from the start, but still very entertaining. That Space Jam dunk is a moment, for battle rap history, 100%. What else? You also have Tay-Rock and Chess against Loaded Hollows with Hollow the Don and Loaded Lux. Really solid. Not solid. Really great battle. Probably an instant classic in terms of just all the moments that happened, from the shell cases, from Loaded Lux getting his gray hoodie and going into ISO mode in that third. Just really good battle and really great moments. A feeling of nostalgia the entire night. Really enjoyed the card. And I know people may have trouble putting it at number 2 just because it's not a one-on-one card. I just think that in terms of entertainment value, you got what you paid for. I mean, outside of not having Murder Mook and Calico go against Briz and T-Top that night, you pretty much was still left entertained from beginning to end. But that's what I have at number 2. And I would compare Summer Impact to WrestleMania 24. Some of the same sentiments, a barrage of great moments. Every match was entertaining. And I compare like the Monstars beating Quest to like Randy Orton overcoming John Cena and Triple H in that triple threat match. Nobody was seeing that coming. And I would compare 48 Hart forfeiting to Kane beating Chavo in less than 30 seconds because it was just so surprising. And all in all, great night from beginning to end. Really enjoyed that card. And at number 1, this is pretty unanimous. Summer Madness 2. What is there to say about Summer Madness 2? Classic event. You can argue that there are some battles that don't age particularly well, and there's better back and forth on other cards, but I still feel like Summer Madness 2 set the standard of what we look for in Summer Madness in terms of the classic moments and the magnitude of everything that's going on. You got Serious Jones versus Clips, where Clips delivers the guess what's room I'm in scheme. Serious Jones delivered a really good first, and Charlie Clips comes back and delivered a haymaker of all haymakers with the stretch marks. Freestyle in the second round, really crazy moment. Then you get Enes versus DNA, which as my friend Jay Smo would like to call it, the original cringe battle, where Enes is having a meltdown on stage and DNA delivered a really solid performance. You have that. You also have Loaded Lux versus Calico. Like, come on now, like, iconic battle. I don't even have to explain why it's so iconic. Jay-Z tweeted it out, so you guys know why it's so iconic. Then you also have John the Don versus Hitman, which set the night off. The best back and forth of the night. Hitman had his first incredible. John had his first really good. Then John made it even more competitive by winning the second. Yes, I'll be the one to say that he won the second, so it was 1-1 going into the third, and Hitman was able to seal it off at the end. But pretty much that set the standard for what it means to give an up-and-comer a shot, and pretty much allowing URL to give these up-and-comers a shot. I think without this battle, there wouldn't have been like a rookies versus vets that happened in 2015, where like these up-and-comers are battling on big stages against the vets. So that was a really huge moment. T-Rex versus Averb, really entertaining for better or for worse. A solid back and forth at first. Both of their first rounds were really good. T-Rex was vintage T-Rex. Averb delivered a really good first round, but he couldn't quite overcome all the stuff that was going on. I'm not one to call it crowd bias, but he most definitely had to earn it, and they made him work harder than any other battler on that card that night. Diddy put up the money in the second round, so T-Rex went into Super Saiyan mode in the second round. Just a beautiful car wreck, if you will. I enjoy the battle. I still think it's entertaining. I still rewatch it. Just a really fun battle to watch. Crazy battle. And then you have Murder Mook against Iron Solomon. 5-round battle. I'm gonna try to say something nice about this battle. One thing I will say is that I don't think that Murder Mook's material was that bad. I just think that it would have benefited from it being in a 3-round battle if he was able to condense some of the schemes or the concepts that he was trying to use into a 3-round format. I think it would have been received a lot better. And he opened up the can of worms of how much he got paid, so that that kind of changed battle rap for better or for worse as well. But all in all, historical night. Anybody that was in that building that night will tell you that feeling is unmatched in terms of any battle rap event or any event in general. Diddy was there. They had a lot of publication. One of the biggest Summer Madnesses of all time. One of the biggest, battle rap events of all time. And I compare Summer Madness 2, as in TOO, to WrestleMania 17. Pretty self-explanatory. You got the best Summer Madness of all time. You got the best WrestleMania of all time. Both of them were end of an era. For WrestleMania 17, that was the end of the Attitude Era. Summer Madness 2, that made battle rap like supremely mainstream. You know, it wasn't as like that was like the peak of it being mainstream. So that kind of connect. I feel like John Adon versus Hitman changed the game in terms of, like I mentioned before, changed the game in terms of like how we view rookies and like their tests that they received. And I think that the same with that changed the game. Another thing that changed the game at WrestleMania 17 was that TLC match. You know, what can be done in the ring with tables, ladders, and chairs, and just being innovative with weapons and stuff like that. I feel like that changed the game and how like people try to emulate certain elements in, you know, tables, ladders, and chair matches and stuff like that. Verb and Rex, to me, if I'm making an analogy, Verb and Rex is very similar to Rock and Stone Cold. You know, obviously Rex is Stone Cold and he has the whole backing behind him. It's in Houston. You know, it's in Houston, and Stone Cold is from Texas, so the crowd was behind him. And then he also had a little bit of help or whatever. Rex was in his habitat, you know, New York hero or whatever, against the villain and stuff like that. So I think that comparison is very self-explanatory. And you know, like I said, it's just the end of an era. You know, like they will usher in the Ruthless Aggression era, and then Summer Madness 2 would become like the launching pad of battle rap becoming mainstream. But that's all I have for the comparisons, and also that's all I have for all the ranked Summer Madnesses. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate you guys. I will be coming back with another video soon in the spirit of Summer Madness. So I hope you guys stay tuned for that. And if you haven't already, please check out me and No Pass Looks Best Years of Battle Rap. That took us a while to make. And I think you guys will enjoy that. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys soon.